Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And yes, we have obtained RAMIRIS at great cost, but we have obtained her. So we have to do a showcase for her, which is good, which means I don't have to reach out to the community. It just means that we're going to have to probably reach out to the community for the next two banners, because I'm only going to have one free multi from the Koban coins, and that's about it. So let's make do with what we can. I have put a healing charm on RAMIRIS since her buffs are like interesting, but don't have any real concrete damage value. Like, she does buff space. We'll get to that. We got a heal charm on her though to keep everyone alive. She leads space and magic right here. Her protection skill, I have been reading incorrectly. I mentioned that during the Shion showcase, but we're going to redo it here as well. So she gives all allies secret skill vitalization, a word you use in everyday conversation, which means that you get 45% ult gauge for 3 turns when the enemy is done. So this 45%, because it's called vitalization and it's not the charm effect, this stacks on top of Shion's 15% and Sufia's 15%. So if you have 2 enemies charmed plus RAMIRIS going, you get 75% ult gauge for 1 turn, and then 60% for 2 more turns, because RAMIRIS and Shion last for 3 turns, and Sufia's for 1 turn. I mean, so that's not an insignificant amount of ult right there. Also increases your space attack by 15% for 3 turns, so that's also good. And then this part down here is what I've been getting incorrect. During my translation and everything, and my initial thoughts on the space meta, I read this as increases your skill point cap by 40, kind of like what Kabi does, or Shuna, or Milim. It's actually like Toa and Hakuro, where she just gives you 40 points when you use her, which in some cases could be good, and in some cases could be not good, because especially since there are so many units that buff green orbs, 40 points is really not all that big, because you have Isis giving you 50% gauge to greens. You have Misery giving you 30% to gauge and 15% damage. All of those are giving you plenty of points. So you could have actually, I kind of would have liked to have a 40-point cap increase rather than just 40 points straight up. Because she's not changing orbs, right? Which, if you get 40 points, you in theory could have points to use orb changes after that, but I don't really know. So we'll test that out. Again, the heal charm is on her. Valor trait doesn't... Well, I guess I can take her into Valor. We'll see how that goes. So yes, let's go ahead and test her out on the current Space 3.0 team, and then let's have her lead a few other teams and see how well she can work. Okay, so for our, second showing, I guess, we will go into the most recent, I think, what is it called? Beatdown something? But it is essentially Tempered Edge. But we're going to go into like the extreme difficulty, not quite EX1 or 2, but just to give you an idea, because I want to use RAMIRIS on a bunch of different teams. I don't want to just limit her to 30 minutes of just the Space 3.0 team. So let's use this. We've got Misery for the green buff, we've got Velzar for the orb changing, Sufia for the orb changing and charm, and then the hero and Shion are our DPSs. So for this showcase, I obviously want to use RAMIRIS as much as possible to show the true amount of ult gauge that she can give you in a fight, and show that you can pretty much have an ult every turn once you're ready and set up and you have the points. So thankfully this is a newer stage, so it's built for the orb changing, so we can use Sufia turn 1, and then we're going to swap her and Velzard out. So we're going to do this, and then we're going to get you out for Velzard. So the next turn we can have enough points to use Misery's green buff, and then bring Velzard in. So let's go ahead and just spread some damage out here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So pop 32, 64, 64, 53. Oh wow, I'm doing a lot more damage there. They must be resistant to physical attacks, so that's fine. So we'll swap up our order. Okay, we almost got a good hand of orb changing. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. So let's go ahead and use the green buff here, and then we can bring Velzard in to change at least 2 of those. And then do that. Yeah. And then, ooh, do we use the rewind here as well? And no. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to charm Hakuro. So this will be 15% alt gauge at the end of the turn because of this. And then we're going to use RAMIRIS, who's going to give us 45%, which then you add it all together, and you get 60% alt gauge at the end of this next coming turn. So the hero probably will have an alt. Or Shion's going to maybe have a double alt. Who knows? Well, maybe not double alt. And then Velzard will have almost an alt gauge from doing absolutely nothing except sending 1 orb. So there's that, there's that. It would have been better if we had a full hand, but it is what it is. So here we have a Shion alt, and now Enamor. So there's the 15%, there's the 45% from RAMIRIS, and now we are ready to go with double alts here and 100 points. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to crit, and then pierce, and then rewind here. So we're going to send these 2 alts, and then we're going to get enough to get another RAMIRIS next turn, plus the rewind. We won't have any extra. Well, we'll get 40 points from that, so maybe we can orb change. Who knows? But let's send this, and then I don't really care where this goes. Actually, let's send Shion. This will still get us RAMIRIS. So 26k there. Shion does 49k. You know, we're getting the space buff from RAMIRIS, the 15%. Shion has her guaranteed pierce and 30% pierce power. We have the guaranteed crits. So, I mean, she's got a lot of power behind her. No doubt about that. We have a whole bunch of Velzard orbs now. So, unfortunately, not a good change, though, because we only have 1 goddamn green. So I guess here's, you know, the weakness of RAMIRIS is, like, yes, you can get ults, but, you know, orbs do a lot of damage too, especially on turns like this where you're double, triple buffed even. You want your orbs to do maximum damage. I don't really see a point in using RAMIRIS right now, so we're just going to send this. I think we actually kill them, but just these Velzard orbs, or not, because they have guard, never mind. And she's physical. But, you know, there's another ult for Shion doing nothing, right? She didn't do anything that last on the rewind turn, yet she still got her ult. She still got 60% ult gauge. Velzard's sitting at a double ult now. So, I mean, that is the power of this team. So, we still have the space buff going, so we can just send... we'll have Velzard clean up, actually, if she can. Well, she could not clean up. Shion will clean up, though, so there's 33. Without the crit, I mean, there's a drastic difference in damage there. Like 20k. But it's almost half. So, there you go. I mean, once you get RAMIRIS up and running with Shion's charm, you're pretty much never going to be running out of ults, unless you just get terrible, terrible hands. So, I mean, that's a very good indication of how this team will run. As far as the next 2 incoming space units, either they're going to increase the amount of... They're all going to be charming people. So, I mean, it's not unreasonable to think that once the entire meta is out, you might get 100% alt gauge between all the different charming. We have 2 units that do it individually. We have RAMIRIS, that's giving 45. So right now, if you have everyone leveled up, you have 75% alt gauge for 1 turn that you just get for free. So, I mean, keeping in with this, it's going to be a turn limit boss battle, so maybe there's another unit coming that will charm and give 25%, and therefore make it so you get a guaranteed alt once you charm everything. That, I think, is realistic. So, but let's take RAMIRIS off of the Space team, or at least the Space 3.0 team, and put her with a few other units that are, you know, more intent on alt rushing than anything else. Alright, so the next team we're going to try with RAMIRIS leading is the Wind 2.0 team. You know, generally not my most favorite 2.0 team. In fact, it's probably one of my least favorite 2.0 teams besides Earth. However, you know, Gabiru is doing the orb changing, is giving us the 15 points, and also is giving us the magic attack buff. Ramiris will be giving us space attack, which is not really important here, except maybe on the hero. But our whole point is to have Diablo be our DPS. Also giving us 40 skill points, and then the ult gauge increase at the end of turns. So let's see what we can do on the Tempered Edge stage for Wind once we get some more stamina. And we'll see how this works. So ideally, if we have 100 points and we have Ramiris, that's 140 points, just like a Toa or a Hakuro. So we have enough to use both the hero crit buff and the ult buff from Wind Millum, and then still have enough points left over to use, I think, at least one of Diablo's skills, of which one of them is not really necessary, because if we're already getting crits, we don't really need to use Diablo's second skill. It does lower defense, though, so it could be. Unfortunately, not a great opening hand, though. So what I think we're going to do is we're going to do this here, and then we're going to bring in Diablo for the hero, and we'll run this. I do want to make sure we take out Diablo first. So there's Ramiris, so now we can hopefully get ults for everybody, at least almost everybody. Okay. Almost a higher hand of greens, which I think are nerfed this. Okay, no, we're fine. Okay, so unfortunately, if we were running Gabiru, this would be a perfect hand, because we could just use Trainee's Orb Change and then use Gabiru, and we'd have a full hand of blue, and we'd be off to the races. Ramiris does not give us such Orb Change scenario, but she does give us 40 points. So what can we do here that will be effective for our team? Really not much. Can't really do much. I mean, we could bring the hero in and do rewind, but I kind of want to give everybody this, so I think we're just going to run it. So space attack does not matter. 45% ult gauge, there's a little bit of heal from the charm, and we're going to send the greens. You last. We're gonna use these two buffs, actually. So I guess, yeah, there were some skills that we could use here. So the attack buff, and then the ult gauge buff, and the wind attack buff on Diablo. So this will pretty much guarantee that Diablo will have his ult next turn. Yeah, after we send these orbs. Yeah, now we'll have his ult next turn. Pop, 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 pop. Alright, there's that. And then their turn, okay. Yeah, they hit kind of hard still. Pierce resistance. Good thing we're not piercing. We almost have an ult for Trainee and Geld. We're going to swap, I think, Diablo out now and bring in Millum. And we're going to try and get to 100 points and another gauge of Ramiris. That's what we're going to try and do. Well, I mean, we could still do it now. So this will get Geld and Trainee's ults here from the carryover. Trainee just has her ult because of the orbs. So now we can do wonderful things here. So there's the double ult there. Let's go ahead and use the ult buff here. So now we're going to have 3 double... Ooh. Double boosted? Maybe not, because Diablo's not going to have the crit. So we're going to give the crit to these two, because honestly they're gonna need it. Let's go ahead and reapply Ramiris. There's a little bit of heal. We're going to use that, and we do not have enough to use Diablo's crit, which is unfortunate. But he does have his attack buff, and he does still have the wind buff as well, so we can kind of make up for it, and he'll have the ult gauge buff, or the ult damage buff as well. So we'll see how this goes and how much damage we actually do here. But I mean, it was very easy to get everybody's ults. Very, very, very easy. And now we'll see how much damage we do, since these are both AoEs. Pop, pop, we'll send... we'll say, well, then that, and then that. And hopefully we can kill Diablo here. 79,000. Okay, that's good damage. He would have actually killed if we had the crit on him. Geld finishes off Diablo. Trainee comes in. 19k. It's not great damage, but they are AoEs. And then 10,000 damage. Okay, so I mean, like, this does work. And then since we have Yep, there's another training alt there, so that's excellent. We can use the orb change here, and that'll give us a full hand of blues. So then we can send this, and then that. Ooh, we don't have enough, so we'll send this. This will get us Geld and Diablo's alt next turn, because we have one more remaining turn of the RAMIRIS skill. And then we should be able to finish off. Geld already has an alt again, but that's fine. Not a lot of damage there. And then, yeah, there we go. Diablo alt, Geld alt. We have another RAMIRIS, so there's another 40 points. So we can use this, the attack buff, and then technically reapply RAMIRIS now. And then heal. And then we can use his crit buff. And I guess we have enough points to give away the blues to Diablo, I guess. Geld's gonna die, so it doesn't really matter here. But I mean, that worked fairly well. It worked fairly well, right? He didn't kill. Wow, you suck. Ah, right. Poor Diablo. Alright, well, look at that. Triple alt. How many alts have we sent in 7 turns? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 alts in 7 turns. Like, that's a lot of alts, okay? That's a lot of alts. We're not even, like, using other charm effects to give us even more alt gauge. It's just we have 8 alts in 7 turns. Now, if we have the points to use more buffs is a different story, but I'm fairly impressed, okay? That's a lot of alt damage. That's a lot of alts right there. Let's try. Let's see. Who can benefit? I'll think of something. Hold on. Alright, so the next team we're gonna try is Light 2.0. Now, I know that the whole point of Light 2.0 is to use Shizu to give everyone Pierce, but we're going to try and rush alts, and we have, you know, because we're getting 40 skill points, it does open up the field for more buffs. So we're going to have Raphael here doing the part of Shizu by giving Shion Pierce. So we're going to have, you know, Raphael's Pierce power, that's 55 points. We've got the hero's crit for 55 points. We've got orb changing from both Rimuru, Shion, and Isis, and the green buff, which will help us sustain our skill points. So I feel like this team should work fairly well. It's just that we'll need a bit of setup to get to that point. So let's try and see what happens. I don't know, because this is not a set turn hand, so I might reset for a good opening hand, depending. Alright, we got the opening turn that we would like to see. So here we have, you know, we have the ability to do the damage, I guess? Or, well, skill points? I don't think I'll really need them, but let's do damage. Let's do damage. So we'll do that. We'll get Raphael out of here for, we'll get Raphael? Yeah, we'll get Raphael out for Isis. Then we can use her buff as well. And now we're going to be in business because this will give us plenty of gauge for, you know, alts, and then plenty of points. So let's go ahead and send all this on... actually, we'll send it all on you before you get your defenses. So we're going to get a Shion alt automatically because of her trait, actually. So this will work out. And then we'll just get another 45%. So that's good damage. Okay, that I think works if we steal the right orb for the alt. It did not. Okay. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. So, who do we want to use here? Let's see. I think we'll give the buff to Raphael as well, so we'll get some of these out of the way. We don't really need Isis here anymore. It's unfortunate that one of those was not a blue, but it is what it is. Let's do the rewind first off. And then we'll put the resistance down on you, because that lasts for 2 turns. And then we'll bring you in for the hero. And then we will 45% alt gauge to everyone up front and heal. And that gives us plenty of points to use... You can't stun them. Wait, we can't stun them, right? No. Okay. Do I pierce now? No, I think we hold on to that. So I think we're just going to have an excess of points, but I mean, that's the whole point of this. Let's do the orb changes, actually. Here we go. Alright, a whole bunch of greens. Pop, 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 pop. This will get us almost a double Rimuru ult after the rewind is over. 19,000 damage by itself is not great, but we know that her damage potential is much, much higher. So here's this. Okay, so that's hilarious. Let's do this and see if we can't get a bit more out of our orb changing scenario next turn, which we can. Okay, perfect. So here, I think we'll wait. Rimuru already has an ult, so getting him out of here is not that big of a deal. Let's use those. And then we can swap Rimuru for Isis. Bring in those 2 blues. Use RAMIRIS. Give ourselves 40 points. Heal again. We can then orb change here. And then this will get us Isis's ult by itself. This turn, after it ends, will give us the Raphael ult. And we're going to have plenty of points to use everything that we would like. We got another RAMIRIS, so we can use double buffs. So that's perfect. So yeah, this works out pretty well. So pop, 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 pop. Ooh, so now that I think about it, Rimuru will not have the crit buff. Xion and Raphael will have the crit buff. Okay. We're just going to have to make do with that. So, Isis is a double ult. Alright, let's get the hero in here for Isis. Alright, there's that. Thankfully there's an orb there, so there's this. Crit buff on Raphael and Xion. And then we'll bring Rimuru in for the hero, steal that 1 orb, and then we can use the attack buff for Xion. And then we can use RAMIRIS, give us the 40 points, which gives us just enough to use the actual Pierce card. Not that one, this one. And lower the ult damage resistance of an enemy, which is going to mean a massive amount of difference here. So, let's send Xion here, and then we'll follow up with these 2 orbs onto Shinsha, and I think we should be good. So we did 19k with her before, now we did 118k. Quite a big difference right there. 17,000 damage, not great. Raphael with the Pierce and the crit does 33k. Definitely not as important or as impressive as Xion. But Xion's final orb did 28k on a 4 send, I think, right? It's a lot of damage right there. And voila, we have 2 more ults. Oh my gosh, it's so difficult to run this team, actually. This actually works pretty well. I'm actually fairly surprised at the potential of this RAMIRIS, right? I thought because she didn't do any orb changing, it would be kind of a letdown. But if you're running a team that can be self-sufficient with orbs, and especially points, to ensure that you have the points to do orb changing, this does work fairly well, and we're really never hurting for ults here. We're hurting for points right now because we didn't get a whole bunch of greens. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. We're no longer piercing. We no longer have the the pierce power or crit, so our damage is greatly reduced. But I mean, in a perfect world, we could. This could happen. And we have 2 more ults, and then we can put this back on again. We could use Ramiris here to give us 40 points, which will allow us to use one of the orb changing here. Not really important. I think we're just going to send this and this and that, and then maybe next turn we have a full hand of greens. 17,000, 18,000, and we killed, so it didn't really matter. Alright, so we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ults? Or was there 6 ults in there? I think we're safe at 5. We had 7 ults. Did we actually have 7 ults? Oh, we did, because we had 2 of them that didn't do anything. Right. Okay, so we had 7 ults in, what, 7 turns? With minimal effort. Obviously, the only ones that really mattered were the ones that were fully buffed. But, I mean, that's good damage right there. That is some excellent, excellent damage, and we cleared it pretty easily. So, Ramiris is actually, I think, a much better protector than I was giving her credit for. But I think that's going to end this showcase for her. I'll see how well she works on some other teams, and then we'll maybe do another video for her. I know we're going to do at least 2 more videos for the new Xion, though. But let me know what you guys think of this new Ramiris. Do you think that she is more powerful than what we initially thought? Let me know your thoughts, but that's it for me. Take it easy, and I'll see you later.